I remember people turning up to my concerts with checks for me. They'd never met them before, and it was really, it's like, wow, I'm just going to spend this on beer.
Let it be, you didn't know what just hit you.
The original one was a collaboration with Royce Virginia and Tim Rowkins, and just featured songs which we worked on together and some older songs of mine, produced in a really kind of half electronic, half acoustic way with strings as well and things like this. Really atmospheric. And then we released a live version which is just me on acoustic guitar.
It seems to me if we forget our roots or where we stand, the movement will disintegrate like castles built on sand.
I think the live version, I had to kind of reinvent the songs to some extent because there's so much production in the original. To play it live on my own was a bit scary, a bit challenging. I had to really reinvent them a little bit. And I think what it brought was just more intimacy, basically. It was much more kind of intimate sound, and it gives people a kind of, they know what to expect if they come and see me live on my own as well. So allow people to get kind of familiar with this live version.
To a greater savior.
So many different ways of writing on this album. Some of them were co-writes. Royce Virginia would send me instrumentals and I would write melodies and words over the top. Other songs I'd written 10 years ago, just guitar, and I'd taken a long time to write them. We threw together so many different things, so it was quite a relief to actually get it sounding like they belong together on one.
Will arise. You will know by then to go down the straight and
I think music has always been around me, but it wasn't until I was a teenager that I started thinking about taking it more seriously and wanting to actually write songs. It would be easy to imagine that suddenly I was hearing and everything was having much more impact. Instead of me just being used to it, I was actually very conscious about hearing things, and probably music too. And yeah, I'd like to think it did help some way. You know, it's really difficult when people ask me how do I describe my music. I say, well, it's I draw so many influences, different influences and genres that, and it's something which is always evolving. So I don't want to pin myself down by a genre, and hopefully each album I can step a little bit more into different things. You know, I think working with different people, and even bands find this difficult as well, is just working with your close mates or whatever, having to compromise on something which is really sometimes requires very strong visions, so it can be really tricky. So for that reason, I'm always going to prefer working on my own. I love recording and I love writing. I think you discover a lot about yourself when you work on your own as well in this way, and I find I'm really productive in those situations. But and the downside of playing live is that it's so risky. You never know what's going to happen, or you know how the audience is going to treat you, which can be quite daunting. But I have to side with live performance being the one, because you've got a chance of kind of magic happening basically, and sometimes it's just incredibly uplifting and almost life-changing, having an amazing concert experience, even as an audience. Meeting and supporting Gil Scott-Heron is up there, because so many of my musical influences are no longer around. So to catch one before he disappeared was really cool. And I would also say that releasing and fan funding my first album, Darkest Light, was a really special thing for me as well. I think it wasn't such a popular way of doing things in 2008 as well. So it was kind of like I didn't know anyone that had done that before, and it was a big kind of gamble. And but I was so surprised by how my tiny fan base was so supportive. And that really set me up with confidence to, you know, not just make that album, but just stay on that path. I think there was a lot of trust there. I remember people turning up to my concerts with checks for me. They'd never met them before, and it was really, it's like, wow, I'm just going to spend this on beer. No, I'm not. I'm not. I made a nice album, but it was. I think they knew exactly what I was up to, and musically, and they trusted me because a lot of these people have been seeing me live for a while. I was a bit worried to do a solo tour on my own in Europe. I'd never done that before, so I was a bit worried that the audience, well, no one's going to come, and if they do come, they're going to be noisy, it's not going to work. But actually, all of the shows I played through Poland, Germany, and Switzerland, and Czech Republic, the audiences have been so wonderful, and just the kind of really respectful. I think sometimes audiences don't realise they are a part of the music as well, and that it's a two-way relationship. And the more they give to the performance, the more I'm going to want to give to the performance, and it's just try and do something that you remember. I find talking distracts me from my own music, so I don't talk as much as maybe people would like me to talk during my concerts. But in terms of the intimacy, what's important for me is the intimacy of the performance. So if I feel like there's a connection with the audience, and I really try very hard to you know, make the most out of that and to communicate my music as purely as possible, so that people actually feel what I'm doing.